Yo, let's go NFC North Roundtable. Welcome to another edition of your favorite show on the internet, surrounded around your favorite division in football. And unfortunately, we have a bit more of a somber episode. We thought that we would have for the first show of the year where we would be celebrating an NFC North team representing the Super Bowl, representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. But once again, the Lions broke our damn hearts. And we are going to be unpacking that game, not only from our good friend Troy, but also for the rest of our representatives on the NFC North Roundtable, everything they saw. And damn, I'm really excited to hear each and every single one of their takes. Now, what I want to do is I want to go around the table, see how everybody is. And then afterwards, we'll go ahead and we will break down this damn game. Have to start off with Troy. What's going on, man?
Well, here's what I wanted to do. I was trying to think of something, trying to get the energy, keep the energy going. I want to light a candle. All right. Hopefully you don't burn something down here, but I want to light a candle for the Lions fans out there. All right. Oh, it's not going to light. It smells good though. That's really why I'm doing this, because it smells real good. I found it today and I was like, oh, maybe I should light that. It may not light. All right. Just pretend this is lit. This is lit.
It's fitting. It's kind of fitting.
This is lit. I smell it. Got that. Look, man. Hey, look, first off, I just want to give a shout out to all the Lions fans that have been repping in the chat here all season long. I want to shout out to the other NFC fans as well, man, for getting to enjoy our playoff run, from the couch. But no, to be honest, man, it was tough. It was tough, but it was enjoyable. I always do look back, and even if we went to the Super Bowl, the season's going to end at some point. So at some time it's going to be unfortunate, but I got to witness 20 games this year, and I'm happy with that.
So what about you, Boss Borowski? What's going on?
I feel like now I know what it feels like to be, another NFC North rival, see an NFC North rival go to the NFC Championship, go up big, and being like, to be fair, I was rooting for the Lions here, but to see them just blow that game, like, it's so reminiscent of what I've seen the Packers do in the past. It was just like, it still felt okay. And I didn't want the Niners to be there, but I was like, all right, like, this is kind of funny, right? Because if it was the Packers doing that, you guys would have been like cheering it on. You guys would have been losing your mind if this was the Packers blowing the lead against the 49ers. So, I respect you, Dion. I respect the Lions and what they got to, but it was kind of fun watching that. But now we got the offseason for all of us, and salary cap, free agency, the draft. So sadly, NFC North not, in the Super Bowl.
And so how you doing, One Bar?
Hey, I'm glad the NFC North isn't representing the Super Bowl. I mean, I was vocal last week as far as I didn't want the Lions to win. They're a damn good team. I respect the Lions. I respect the hell out of them. My jealous emotions could not have them get in there when the Vikings weren't. And Dion, man, I feel for you. Like Baz said, I mean, been there. NFC North or NFC Championship games, Vikings, whether it's a missed field goal, Brett Favre throwing it across his body for an interception. My heart has been torn out, and I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. So I feel for you, man. I feel for you.
And last but not least, Chicago Nick. Oh, is okay, nice. So a new name. Yeah.
Well, I just, that's my Twitter handle. But
nice.
So I will say this is that I was more upset. I just felt like from over the lake, Dion, what he was feeling, because of the fact that Kendall Vildor switched that game for you guys. I mean, like, he did that for the Bears over and over and over again. And when he did it for the Lions, I was like, oh no, they're going to lose this game because he just did that. And sure enough, the whole game changed. I was so upset. Like, I felt the pain, but, shout out to the Lions. Like, what a season, what a turnaround over the last, 2 seasons. And it shows, I mean, they're not far off and everyone's coming back, but it was a heartbreaker for sure.
Oh, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to unpack that game. I know that we've probably heard a lot from Troy this week on exactly what he thought happened as into why the Detroit Lions could not bring it home for the NFC North. But I do want to remind everybody to please smash this like button for us. It's completely free. It takes less than a second, and it helps out the channel tremendously by propelling it out to the algorithm where more people can go on ahead and discover this show. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the NFC North Roundtable is not done during the offseason. I can assure you that. We're still going to be shoving content down your throats. Free agency, cap space, the draft, combine, you name it. We will be discussing it right over here on this channel. And say, for example, that you wanted to ask any of the hosts a question, then certainly go on ahead and feel free to utilize the super chat function that we have. All right. The damn Lions, man. The damn Lions. And listen, I went as far as making a celebratory TikTok the second that the Lions went up 24-7 at the half. All right. I already booked my ticket to Vegas thinking that I'd be seeing the Lions there. All right. And it didn't happen. Some call it a collapse, but have to start with the man of the hour. Troy, what happened? Talk to us. What was your overall take? What happened during that second half?
Oh, man. I mean, the Kindle Builder was tough. First off, just for Builder in general, man, I feel for him. It felt like ever since he stepped in, like there were so many things that he did well, but he could never just make that big play. Like he was so close to making so many big plays for us. Honestly, every playoff game, and it would be like by just this much. No, it didn't happen. And that was the worst one because that one just hit him in the face, man. That was I couldn't tell. There was actually a light, like where we were sitting, was a light in our face, so I didn't know he caught the ball. I thought the ball just hit the ground. Like I was kind of excited. I thought there was a PI, and then they're like, no, he caught that. I'm like, there's no way he caught that. So that was tough to see it the second time because I didn't even know what took place. That was tough. But really, man, what stands out about this for me is just it's hard to put your finger on what took place here for the Lions because there were so many things that they left out there. And when I spoke to Dan about this earlier in the week, I mean, there were plays that I didn't even tell you about that I'd like hit me. I'm like, oh, dang, I forgot about that one. And then when this happened as well, every single drive had something that we just left out on the table, it felt like in the second half. And it wasn't like the worst second half. Like I didn't step back and think like we can't do anything. It wasn't like they shut down the run game. It wasn't like there was no passing success or a defense just every play was giving up chunks. Like we still did things well, but we didn't make any big plays, right? There was no big plays that we really made in the second half. There was no opportunities we took advantage of. And then, I mean, that was really took place on every side of the ball. We also made some really bad mistakes as well in that one. It was tough watching it back because, like I said, like there was no point where you felt like you were outmatched in this one. It was just that you just didn't have a big play. Like every game usually has swings to it. Ayuk had his big play. San Fran had a couple things they left out there in the first half. They had a lot of big plays in the second half. And you just think at some point, whether that's special teams, defense, maybe it's the Builder pick, maybe, just one of those Josh Reynolds grabs, just something's going to go your way, or there's some big play that's going to pop. Maybe it's a flag and you're like, hey, that was huge. That shifted momentum. And we just had nothing that shifted our momentum back. So the whole time you felt like you were in it because like, oh, we can still do things. But then every time you got close, like, no, that's not going to happen. Every time you got close to get a stop defensively, you didn't. And then offensively, every time you looked like you were going to score, you didn't. So it was very frustrating to watch back because I didn't walk away from that one thinking that that we were worse than the San Francisco 49ers. Like that would have been one thing. We go into that, we get smoked. It's like, oh, dang, okay. Maybe we do need that next step. Maybe it is next year. But you walked away from that one. I was like, yo, I felt like we were the better team the whole time, and we lost this dang football game. So that's the most frustrating thing because you felt like there was left opportunity, especially once you saw Kansas City win the first game and knowing you've already beat them, different team, but knowing you've already beat them, man, the confidence head in that one would have been so high going in that one. So that's why it was so difficult. Just a lot of opportunities left on the field.
Now, if you had to pinpoint blame on anything, right? I mean, you and I discussed the whole with Dan Campbell being aggressive on those fourth downs, which is nothing new. I mean, he was doing that all season. I mean, definitely no surprise there. Or lack of execution. If you could pinpoint anything and centralize blame around sort of any factor, who would you place that blame on?
Man, I don't know where to go with it. I can't, man. Like the only name that comes to mind, and I hate to do this because I'm a fan of him. If we re-sign him, I'd be happy. It would be Josh Reynolds, just because of what I expect in the playoffs. I mean, the guy had 3 drops all season long. He has 2 in this game, so you just don't expect that. And those were 2. I mean, they weren't anything crazy. Those are 2 drops that, I mean, those are plays that he's making, especially on gotta have it downs. You throw it to Josh, you trust it. We saw it at the end of the year against Saints, right? He came through for us, made a great grab. We win the football game. So I would say him. But at the same time, like I said, it was everybody. I mean, it was the Vilder one where you're like, okay, he hadn't made that play yet, but he was still right there. It was the Jahmyr Gibbs fumble where you're like, all right, let's get this thing going offensively. No, he ran the wrong way. Now he fumbled the football. There was just so many of even on special teams. I mean, it came down to special teams where a punt, you couldn't down him at the 1 yard line where the guy just slides onto the goal. He just slides onto the end line. It's like, oh, no, it's a touchback. Every little thing like that took place in this one. And for the most part, like I understand the Dan Campbell stuff. I see the talk, and I'm sure we'll talk about it. That wasn't the biggest issue with me because this thing was just like, he just didn't execute at any point. I mean, with how the game was going, if you would have put a few unit, I probably would expect him to miss. I'd probably expect him to snap. Something would have went wrong because that's what happened offensively, defensively. J-Mo's dropped touchdown, especially after an incredible grab that he had. We just need someone to do something, maybe just out of the ordinary, or honestly, at some points, just do what you've done all season long. And it just didn't happen, man. We just left way too many opportunities. And here's where I will give credit to San Fran, because I was pretty fired up yesterday, Dan. Look, man, I wasn't removed enough from the game. I couldn't calm down. So I was just so mad at the Niners. But I will give them credit for this. This is why they're worthy of where they're at, is because they were like a true championship team in the sense that they were at home, they were way behind, and they just stuck with it. And then they started making plays. And I give them that credit, because that was when people I think talk about man, did they have the championship, DNA? That showed, I think, for San Fran. And then for us, it was just, I don't know. I don't think there's a good explanation of it. We just left so many opportunities out there that I can't point to one.
So I'm getting the sense that you are saying that the Detroit Lions beat themselves and the San Francisco 49ers did not beat the Detroit Lions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's, now look, I'm not taking everything away from San Fran. The second fourth down, I give them credit, man. They changed up the coverage. They changed up something they've been doing on short yardage situations, and we had no answer for it when we dropped back. There was nobody open. We broke down the interior, and it was there's nowhere to go with the ball. So I will give them credit for that. But honestly, outside of that play, bro, we just left everything out there. Again, we came out in the second half, when they have a good play. It's all right, they moved the football. We hold them to a field goal, so I'm still feel good. Then we get the ball back, we're moving the ball. We're still running it. Everything was still there, now in a different way. We changed things up, how we were doing it stylistically, but we still moved the ball downfield, got to stop them fourth down, right? Then he give it back defensively, and it was just I never felt like in that game we couldn't move the ball. The fumble halted a drive, or two back-to-back drops by Laporta and Josh, and then a run missed on a block, an easy block. Everything gets shut down. We just didn't execute anything in the second half. It was so weird. It was just weird. I don't know. I don't know what you do with that. I guess it's just unfortunate luck, and nothing kind of swayed our direction. And honestly, again, credit to San Fran. Because we did it, they took advantage of it. San Fran didn't give us anything, right? No, they didn't muff a snap. They didn't do anything dumb in the second half to give us life or give us free points in the second half, which could have ended the game, because that game could have got out of hands based on how they like to play. And we kind of just let them back into it. And especially the short field that we gave them after the Gibbs fumble, that was so frustrating, because you want to make them throw the ball. And when you give them at the 20, it's okay, well, now that's not even a factor anymore in this one. So yeah, we definitely lost that game. Like I said, if that was a series, we would have beat San Fran in the series. I truly believe that.
So, One Bar, what was your thoughts on that game, man?
Well, hey, Dion, if you want a blueprint how to beat the Niners, just let me know. We did it earlier in the season. It was wonderful. It actually a little bit easy, but let me know. You know what? Like I said, I did not want the Lions to win. I did not want them to lose like that. I never would have expected it. Last week when we were talking, I think everybody said the same thing. The key to the Lions winning, get out early and run the ball. And that's exactly what they did. They were on pace to just absolutely run away with this game. And then Gardner Johnson decides to wave to the crowd in the second quarter. Right when he did that, I tweeted out, I said, it's too early, man. Don't be doing that shit. And he did it. And whatever just happened, everything fell off the rails. It was brutal. Like any Cinderella story, any love that it's hey, we're rooting for the Lions because they've been so bad. When he did that, everything went out the window. It's dude, do that in the fourth quarter. Wait till the fourth quarter to do that stuff. Dion, like you said, the second half, you're saying it wasn't that bad. It was. It was tough to watch. Everything they were doing. Fumbles. The fourth downs, it was really painful. It was not the Lions. I don't know what was in the air. The Reynolds drops, everything. It was pretty gross. It was bad. And when you do that against the Niners, they're going to come back. They're going to win. And that's exactly what they did. I could talk about the game forever, but I want to talk about the coaching, because I know that'll be a big topic. From somebody that's not a Lions fan, somebody that's not in it, watching that, I know Dan Campbell. I know the big reason they were in that position is because of those big old balls, those big moves he makes week in and week out. But somebody's got to whisper in his ear, dude, we're one game away from the Super Bowl. Kick a field goal, do something. You can't get away with this crap against the Niners when you're one game away from the Super Bowl. It's BS. And the thing is, it's not just so much about the fact that they didn't get the first down. It's the fact that they give all that momentum back to the Niners. It's dude, we just stuffed your ass on fourth down. We got the ball back. That's a huge ass deal. So it's not just so much they didn't get the first down. It's the fact that the Niners get the ball back and just go run it down your throat. So It was painful, and the biggest thing was, and it was the fact that when they ran that ball and had to waste that timeout.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
I mean, that's inexcusable. I mean, if this was a coach in the first playoff, if this was like first round of the playoffs, and this was a coach that was already like on the hot seat, and he did that, they should fire his ass. I mean, that is inexcusable. Inexcusable. Not the fact that they just called the timeout, but the fact that they didn't have another play behind them to at least to hurry up and run a play. When they called that timeout, they might as well left the field. The game was over. The game was over when they called that timeout. I will never understand that. I'll never get it. It was brutal. And I see a lot of the Lions fans out there saying, hey, our team is young. We're all coming back, whatever. It's damn hard to get back to that NFC championship game. I mean, you're talking, I mean, I've seen 3 NFC championship games as a Vikings fan, 98, 2009, and 2018. There's a big ass gap between those games. You guys had your chance. You're not going to have the Bucks and the Rams every year in the playoffs. You had your chance. And I think, again, Dan Campbell, I love the dude. He's badass. I put this on him. I think it was BS. I think you guys could have won that game. And it's all on him. I was fired up after that game, and I didn't even want the Lions to win.
Damn. So what about you, Nick? Talk to me.
So I'm not going to be that brutal. Holy cow. But no, I mean, like, he's speaking the truth. There was a lot of coaching mistakes by Dan Campbell. Like, I know he's a young coach. I know he loves to take gambles. And listen, I wish the Bears would do that more often. But at the end of the day, a lot of it fell on Dan Campbell. There was I mean, you might know exactly what I'm talking. It was either the third or fourth quarter where there was an easy field goal opportunity for them, and they gambled it away. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, just take the 3 points, make yourself be a 2-possession game. Instead, they didn't go for it. And then the Niners scored on that following drive. So, like, I respect what he's doing. He's built an amazing culture. But man, he took too many gambles. And like Wumbar was saying, like, you don't get that opportunity every single year. It's not the Chiefs. It's not, the Niners, who are in the NFC championship every other year, or every year in a row. So it really falls on Dan Campbell, in my opinion, in regards to this loss. There was player mistakes. I mean, a lot of these guys, this was their first time in the playoffs. And the fact that they made it to the NFC championship, super impressive. Like, drops are going to happen. They're going to happen in big games. They matter more in big games, obviously. And it sucks to see, but they definitely learn from that. And what I think the Lions have to look at is that they're bringing back, I think, almost all their coaches next year at the moment. I mean, bringing back Ben Johnson's huge for them.
Which is wild, by the way.
Which is wild. I mean, like, they are so lucky with that. I will say that also they're bringing back most of their offense. If I'm I haven't looked at your guys' contract situations, to be honest, but it sounds like most players are coming back. You have a super young defense. Like, you guys are in a very good position to be good for a long time. But I will go back to the comment. I think the comment that sticks to me the most is that you're not going to play the Rams. You're not going to play the Bucks to get to the NFC Championship. Those type of teams every single year. You're going to have tougher, earlier playoff games in years to come. So I think it was a huge learning curve for Dan Campbell as a coach. He admitted he took a lot of blame for it. I think it was a huge learning curve for the players. But overall, I think that there was just so many little mistakes by the Lions in the second half that it just added up super quickly. I mean, it felt like every single drive, something was off. And you didn't see that all year from the Lions, obviously, except when they played the Bears, where the Bears spanked them. But I will say, like, it's good. It's good to see that the Lions have a good future ahead. But yeah, it fell mainly on the coaching at the end of the day. But hey, Jared Goff, you guys got your guy for a while. Don't have to worry about that. You got all your picks. Lions have a big offseason ahead because they can bring in even more talent and be even scarier next year. So hats off to you guys. It sucks, but you fumbled the bag and you pick up and you keep going.
All right, Dave, real quick. I do need to respond though, because there's one point I do disagree with. When we can hit these things later, but I do disagree with the whole playing the Rams first. I mean, that was the hottest team of football when they were healthy. Offensively, what they had going for them. I mean, I don't think you could have had a much tougher matchup as a 2 seed. I don't think there was a tougher matchup for a home team to open up the playoffs with than the LA Rams. I don't think anybody wanted to see the LA Rams to open the playoffs with, to be honest. That's my opinion on that. Obviously, they took us down to the wire. We found a way. Now, Tampa Bay, you're right. I don't disagree with you guys there. Tampa Bay we already had beat them in Tampa Bay by 14 points. It was like, okay, this one, you felt real confident going into it. But in saying that, if we would have got Philly, like Philly was awful. So it made sense why Philly lost. So you're right, because Dallas losing to Green Bay set us up getting that second home game. And I think a lot of people thought Dallas would win that one. Shout out to Green Bay for handling business there. But I will say that the LA Rams one, that was, I mean, you got to give them credit for earning the top seed like they did. You win 12 games, you're going to have home field. You're going to get weaker opponents. And I think the Lions got one of the toughest weak opponents, especially with everything that went on the outside. All the storylines behind it with Goff, the coaching staff. All I heard was, Sean McVay knows Goff. He knows how it's going to be unfortunate or how he's going to make it difficult on him. I mean, that was a loaded team, especially on offense, and the Lions got that win. So I don't think that was an easy win at all. I think that was one of the toughest teams they could have seen.
So last but not least, Bass.
I'll say this. Hindsight's 2020, and you can go out and blame Dan Campbell for all those things, and I get that. But I have been in this situation before as a Packers fan multiple times where you're sitting in a playoff game and Mike McCarthy is kicking the 3 points, and that's why the Seattle Seahawks come back in 2014, right? So it can go both ways, and I think if Dan Campbell didn't have that mentality the entire year, they're probably not even in the NFC Championship to begin with. They're probably not even there. But, man, it still just sucks to see that whole second half. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And like I said, I've been there so many times where it's like, it feels like everything you do was just a mistake. But overall, you know, I understand blaming Dan Campbell. But, you know, if Josh Reynolds catches that ball, you're probably not blaming Dan Campbell. You're probably going, oh, what a great call. What a great coach. He brought his team to the Super Bowl because of the balls he has. So hindsight's 2020. And I know you always want to have a scapegoat and blame someone, but I can't sit here and blame Dan Campbell fully for this loss. Like, for me, I can't, because there's been times as a Packers fan, I would love to have a guy like that at coach, the aggressive, you know, foot on the gas type of coach. Luckily, the Packers are kind of having that right now with Matt LaFleur, where it's like, okay, you know, you're in a situation where you should definitely go for it. If it doesn't work, whatever, you bought in, you tried to do that. It sucks for Lions fans because, you know, I know how it feels to be there. And it's very hard to get back. Like you guys all said, it's very hard to get back. Who knows what happens next year with other teams, other, you know, coaches and whatnot, or if you even get home games, or what happens in your own division if the Packers end up winning the North. So it really depends. You know, it really does. It sucks because the Lions, I feel like, followed the Packers blueprint, but they shouldn't have followed the blueprint until the very end, allowing San Fran back into that game. Like, they were doing everything that I thought they'd be able to do, you know, run against the 49ers, right? Jared Goff protected the football, get a turnover on Purdy. I think it was Malcolm Rodriguez actually caught the interception, just like Darnell Savage the week before dropped that like same exact pass, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, they're doing everything they need to do. Like I was saying in the last week's show, and I was like, okay, they're 24/7 at half. They're running the football. They're owning at the line of scrimmage. Like, they were just dominating at the line of scrimmage. I was watching replays of Chase Young basically giving up on plays, and the 49ers defense looked gassed, man. They looked completely gassed, and I was like, wow, like, this is great. But then they followed the second half of the Packers blueprint and made a bunch of mistakes, allowed the 49ers to climb right back into it, and lost the game in a wonderful fashion. Dion, I feel for you, man. Like I said, I laughed a little bit, but I definitely do feel for you.
Oh, man. And hey, you know, fun facts. Looks like Jeff Hapley, Boston College coach, is now the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I was kind of like sitting here, kind of sidetracked for a little bit there, because I'm like, I don't follow college, let alone Boston College, right? So
Yeah.
I've just been kind of looking up some things here and there. It makes sense, right? They interviewed like 5 people, and then they hire someone that hasn't even been released of an interview. So like, this happens with the Packers all the time. It'll be like, they interviewed this guy, and this guy, and you're sitting there all week doing your research on each guy, and this is the defense he had 3 years ago, and this is and then they hire someone, you're like, wait, who's this guy?
Wait,
you gotta look him up on Google. You're like, okay, here we go. 44 years old, New Jersey. All right, like that's kind of how it goes with the Green Bay Packers signing coaches, or hiring coaches. I'm excited. I mean, just initial thoughts. Like I said, I don't know much about him, but he's a 44-year-old coach, and I'm glad they're going younger, kind of matching that with Matt LaFleur, recent head coach from 2020. at Boston College. He was a defensive or co-defensive coordinator at Ohio State in 2019. He has some coaching experience in the NFL with the Browns as a defensive back coach, the Bucks, the 49ers as a defensive back coach. So looks like he has a decent amount of experience. I'm excited to kind of look into everything after the show and whatnot, but it's interesting. It's interesting, and hopefully it can be just better than Joe Barry, and I'll be happy.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, this show is brought to you by BetUS, the #1 sports book, proud partner with Roundtable Sports. They're currently matching 125% of your initial deposit the second that you do sign up. That link is in the description. Best customer service in the game, and the payouts are super easy. As you can see, we already have the lines for the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Super Bowl matchup none of us wanted to see all year, ladies and gentlemen. But that doesn't mean that you can't make a little bit of cash while doing so. Certainly go check out BetUS, not even one of, the best sportsbook on the face of the planet. And here is a message from BetUS.
BetUS, America's favorite sports book, where you can bet on everything, anytime. Sportsbook, casino, horse racing, live betting, and more. We have the best bonuses in the industry. That's right, get a 125% sign-up bonus. And to celebrate our 30-year anniversary, we are giving up to 30 risk-free bets, a truck, Super Bowl tickets, and more. Don't miss out. Play smart. Join now. BetUS, where the game begins.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, boys. Talk to me about it, One Bar. What's the easy money pick right here?
You're right. I mean, this is a gross Super Bowl. I
hate this Super Bowl, man.
I like even the Ravens and Lions, I think would have been a wonderful Super Bowl to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to watch that game. So now we get the Niners and Chiefs. I'm just going to have to sit there and get absolutely bombed during this game, unfortunately. But I can't go against the Chiefs. I mean, the Niners the last 2 weeks, I mean, the Packers almost had them. Then the Lions almost had them. So I'm taking the Chiefs, and I don't even want the Chiefs to win. But if I had the bet on it, I'm definitely going Kansas City. I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. I can't go. I mean, really, I'm going with Andy Reid. So I'm going with the Chiefs. 10 times out of 10.
And so what about you, Nick? And by the way, I am also seeing all of these extra bets. You have heads and tails. I wonder if they have the Gatorade color as well.
Do they have an over-under on Taylor Swift appearance?
This is dangerous.
Oh,
I want
that's
to do
going to
them
be a
all.
good one.
They have the over-under. All right. Hey, Nick, like if there was any easy money pick, right, that you could see, what do you take?
Go up a little bit. It's going to be, I think Chiefs win by 7 or 12 points. That one's easy money right there.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, you guys think I'm always going crazy with the low scores. I think it's going to be a close game. Am I excited for the game? Of course, it's Super Bowl. Am I excited for who's in it? Nah, not really. Like, I really wanted a Lions-Ravens Super Bowl. I think it's different. It would have been fun, different fan base. I mean, the Ravens definitely have a lot more Super Bowl memories in recent memory than the Lions do. But it would have been like everyone would have been rooting for the Lions if you weren't from Baltimore. That kind of situation. They would have been America's team. It would have been a lot of fun. And of course, I wouldn't have to see Taylor Swift 25 times in the first quarter. So overall, I mean, like, it's going to be a good game. Who do I have winning? I got the Chiefs. It's the Niners. They looked one bar side of best. They looked gassed against everybody, and they're just squeezing by. So I don't know. Chiefs, Andy Reid, Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes. Everything's in favor for the Chiefs, but I would love it if the Niners did pull it off. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm going with the Chiefs.
So, and so what about you, Bass?
I'd probably go Chiefs too. I just feel like with the Niners, the last 2 weeks, they've gotten very lucky, and sometimes it is better to be lucky than good. We're talking about multiple dropped interceptions that probably could have ended the game. I'm going to be honest. Like I probably, there's a good chance I might not watch it. Like, I'm being dead honest. Like it's not interesting to me. And I've done this before. I think the last one I didn't watch was Rams Patriots. And I'm glad, because that was like the worst Super Bowl I've ever seen, or at least after looking at it, it was terrible. But if I were to bet, it would definitely be the Chiefs because that plus money, I feel like that's like how do you get plus money for Mahomes and Andy Reid in the Super Bowl? That's just an easy one for me there.
Troy.
Yeah. Hey, look, man, when Nick was
You got a
showing
bad
those
taste in your
numbers,
mouth about this one.
yeah, I would say easy money, Chiefs by 43 or more. That's kind of where I'm at with this one. You know, if you guys, I mean, retire early, put the money on that.
There we
Chiefs
go.
blowing them out, dude. That's what look, man. I doubt there's like no rooting interest. I think on either side. I think Nick said that he want to see San Fran win, but to be honest, I don't think anybody like really has a strong pull. So because of that, like, let's just watch the Chiefs just destroy the 49ers just to have something interesting with it. I would be in for that. I know the whole Taylor Swift stuff would be like super annoying, but I'm also like, I also can respect a team that has a dynasty build. Like, I can respect what they do over there, man. They have a great coaching staff. I have read Spagnola's like in his 5th Super Bowl. So I can respect what they have over there. They have a great quarterback. Like, that's a worthy team that has a young defense that's improved. They're worthy of winning the Super Bowl. San Fran just frustrates me. I'm still upset about it. I don't care, man. I hope San Fran gets just destroyed in that game. Okay. I hope it's an absolute blowout, 50-0 at halftime. They don't even come up. But I don't even know who their backup is at this point. They trade away Trey Lance. Just put somebody else in the game.
Darnold, baby.
Sam Darnold. There you
Sam
go.
Darnold.
Hey, Sam Darnold. First quarterback from that class, right, from the Super Bowl.
I think I saw.
And you know what, dude? It's funny because I guarantee you some people probably had that take during that 18 draft class. I guarantee you probably someone said, "Oh, dude, I guarantee you Sam Darnold will be the first one."
They're right.
Yeah.
I saw a bet. Someone put a bet on Sam Darnold winning Super Bowl MVP. I'm like, this is what are we writing over here?
Holy hell. All right, guys. Yeah, so BetUS 110%. And guys, listen, make sure you subscribe to this channel because after we're done with this live, we are going to be recording an episode where we are going to be focusing on topics centric to each and every single team. I definitely want to talk about that David Bakhtiari contract situation for the Packers and some cap space. I also want to talk about whether or not that Kirk Cousins is worth $90 million for the Minnesota Vikings and where they're going to go for that. The Chicago Bears and what the hell they're going to do with Justin Fields or Caleb Williams. And then obviously some more Lions talk over there. So make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications because that video will be coming out tomorrow, I believe. We're super excited about it. But final topic, we can keep this short. The Lions ended up winning the NFC North this year. All right. There's no question about that. But looking forward into 2024. And granted, there's still a lot that needs to come to fruition. There's going to be, a bunch of free agents that are walking away from each and every single team. Some teams are in better financial situations than others. But around the table, what team do you believe poses the largest threat to the Detroit Lions within the NFC North next year? Starting off with Nick.
I mean,
tell me it's the Bears, baby.
It's obviously the Bears. I mean, there's top 5 offense coming up, or top 5 defense coming up over the last 10 games of the season. You have a lot of targets. Number 1 overall pick can probably get an absolute haul, get a lot more talented players. And also, we were just linked to Calvin Ridley and Curtis Samuels potentially coming to the Bears. So that dropped today. So a lot of big names could come to the team. Bears have $50 million in cap coming up before cuts. If they do some cuts to players that we don't need anymore, get us close to $80 million. I like our chances of being very good next year. So I'm absolutely pounding the table that the Bears will win the NFC North next year.
Oh, God. All right, one bar.
So you're saying the biggest threat to the Lions, right?
Yep.
All right, Nick is huffing gas all day or something. I think the Bears are going to take a step back, man. I think it's going to be gross. But the thing with the Vikings, I'll just say this: is you never know what to expect ever. So, but I'm going to take my Purple Heart out of this thing. I got to go with the Packers. Just the way they ended the season. I want to see him follow it up. I want to see Jordan Love have a follow-up season. I'm not 100% sold on that. I know he's good. But if I were to say anybody but the Packers, I wouldn't be doing the show justice. So I'm going to say Green Bay, but I will last time Vikings, you never know. A lot of question marks going on the offseason, Dan, which I know we're going to talk about in our next show. But I got to do Green Bay, and it pains me to say it. Might as well punch myself in the crotch.
Hey, one bar, didn't you say like a couple weeks ago how scared you were of the Bears defense and how you didn't want to play them if you were in the playoffs?
We didn't get to the playoffs, so.
But I'm just saying, like, didn't you say that? Because that means that we play you guys twice next year, and we're keeping everyone on defense and probably going on against somebody else.
I'll give you
Just-
your defense, but your offense, you don't even know who your quarterback's going to be next year.
It's Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. Well, then that makes me
Is
feel
it?
better. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's a teaser.
Still at 4. There we go. We're good.
It's all right, Boss Orosky.
I'm in the back.
Hey, one bar. I respect it. You know, I thought every one of us were just gonna say our own team, and Dion was gonna be like, the most threat to the Lions is the Lions. Like, I just feel like we're all gonna go down that line. But let's be real. Like, it is the team that has the other quarterback. That's the guaranteed quarterback. We don't know if Kirk's gonna be in Minnesota. If he is, I think the Vikings could be a good threat. We don't know who the quarterback is in the Bears, as much as you want to say it's Justin Fields. Like the Bears could very well go out and draft a quarterback. Like that would not shock any of us here. Like, none of us would be like, oh wow, the Bears did that. Like, no, that wouldn't happen, right? So I think the team that is a threat to the Lions is the Packers, just because of how young their team is. Just got a new defensive coordinator. We'll see how that goes. A lot of young weapons, a lot of draft capital. They can move around some money and make money in order to maybe bring in some free agents to bolster this defense, make it better. So I'm gonna go Green Bay Packers, and I know it's a biased one, but I think you guys would agree.
That's what you got, Troy.
Yeah, my bad on that. My bad, Bass. I didn't hear what you said to me. Bass, what was your answer?
Come on now.
Was it Chicago? It sounded like you were going with Chicago when I left.
No. I said I was pretty much saying, like, it wouldn't shock any of us to say Chicago, like, if they draft a quarterback, like, none of us would go, oh wow, why did they do that? Like, that would be a Chicago thing to do. Like, it would. So that's why I'm not choosing Chicago and Minnesota, because there's a question mark at quarterback. If there's any team that's going to threaten the Lions, it's going to be a team that has a guaranteed solid quarterback. That's the Packers.
Vikings. Okay, so I would no, man. Look. I think it's a good. First off, the Chicago defense is legit. And I'll give the credit to the head coach in this sense. Like, there was a lot, and Nick, we talked about this during the season. Like, it felt like there was going to be potentially some firings there, and credit to him. He finished strong enough where he kept his job, and I think it's actually pretty good for Chicago. I mean, we'll have to see where it goes long term, but definitely on the defensive side, I think it's a real positive for them. That defense is real, man. So I think that's huge for him. But to what Bass said, that's the biggest thing that holds me back, because I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback, and I get the sense that they're not going to draft a quarterback. And as a Lions fan, like, no disrespect, Nick, I doesn't make me like, it give me more fear, I think, if they took a quarterback at the top, just because of everything that goes into that. I think it would give me more fear just in not knowing what that's going to look like. I mean, obviously there's more downside potential to that as well, so I understand it. Then on the Minnesota side, here's the thing, though. I would give this to Minnesota. Having Brian Flores is huge, because I didn't hear his name come up in any of the head coaching stuff. And the fact that he's coming back as their defensive coordinator, like, you guys turned that, I mean, one bar can speak that better than I can, but you guys didn't have like a lot of talent over there, seemingly. You guys turned that thing around defensively. So they just need more talent. They just need to add some talent. I don't know if they can do that quickly enough. And then Green Bay, Bass knows this better than I do. It doesn't look like there's a lot of like your big names, especially on the defense side of the ball. They're going to be free agents, but y'all are old. Okay. Y'all are a little bit old. So that's the only thing I kind of look at. I think they're old, but I think for that, I would say Green Bay. I would say Green Bay just because of where they're trending. It's hard not to say Green Bay. Chicago, if they take a quarterback at number 1, I'd say Chicago. Otherwise, I'm saying Green Bay.
And so we have our first super chat of the evening, boys. James Welsh, $5. It's Niners fan, I believe, saying, "Cry babies, man. Not SF's fault. Your teams couldn't hold on." Ouch.
Shout out to I want to give a shout out to the Niners fan tuning in, man. We do appreciate you.
Let the man cry.
Yeah.
Let him cry in peace.
Yeah, hey, real quick, Dan, whatever happened, it's not okay to be upset. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, look, man, it's the NFC Championship. We're not allowed to be sad that our team loses. We're supposed to be happy. Like, dang, that was a good season.
Yeah, that's what I'm
awesome.
talking
I'm
about,
glad
man.
we lost this game. It's okay that we're sad that we lost. It's all right. You heard Ben Johnson. I mean, I don't know if y'all heard it or not, but Ben Johnson, and this is according to St. Brown, so I'm just holding on. It's what St. Brown said, but he did say that Ben Johnson's coming back because business is not finished, man. So if anything, this is just motivation that they're driving off of here. So I'll say that, man.
The only jobs available was Seattle and Washington.
Well, this is also true, too. This is also trure. But I will say this, that Niners fan, man, hey, we're going to be a problem for years to come. So congratulations. I'm glad you got it now. But this feels like a thing. And I think I think everybody in this show right here agrees with me. I mean, I don't know. I think Bass agrees with me here. Niners are going like this, and we're going like this. I'm just saying. I think the Niners' reign is about over. All right, they got Brock Purdy. It's interesting, but it's not going to last when the team around him starts to kind of fall down. And we're going to start to see that very soon. So I'm glad they got their opportunity this year, because I don't think it's going to be there going forward.
They have Purdy on a 7th round contract. So
well, hey, they got him on the 7th round contract, but they got a lot of old dudes. You know, you look at those contracts, they got a lot of old dudes. I don't know. I'll just keep on Cyrus retiring and stuff, but I just think like CMC, he wants to get a Super Bowl. That's great. They're not paying him anything, but a lot of their top talent, man, they feel like, you know, these guys get banged up, man. Debo gets banged up. I'm just saying, I think this might be the end here for San Fran. I may be hoping that a little bit more than anything, but just throwing that out there.
Probably.
Appreciate
the downfall of the Niners, ladies and gentlemen. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of the NFC North Roundtable. We are live every single Wednesday, so certainly go on ahead and subscribe to this channel, smash that like button, and turn on notifications. And please stay tuned right to our video, which will be releasing tomorrow, in which that we are about to record right now for some more team-centric storylines. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.